Things have not gone so well for USC this season. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Claudette Montana. And Claudette, Caleb Williams not taking it so well. Obviously, he's got a future ahead of him in the NFL. But there was a lot of talk about his reaction after the game, which you see there. What do you make of him wearing his emotions, I guess, on his sleeve?
Well, I was at the game on Saturday, so I actually witnessed that emotional moment between him and his mom in the stands. I don't have a problem with that reaction after the game. I know he's getting a little bit of criticism, but why are we criticizing, a 21-year-old kid for having an emotional moment with his mom after a really hard-fought game? That game was a really disappointing loss for USC, not only because both offenses really played well. Caleb Williams played a really good game, but now their chances of playing in the Pac-12 championship are over. Their college football playoff hopes, those have been over for a while. This is Caleb Williams, probably will be his last year playing in college football, and this isn't the way that he wanted to go out. So I think that's probably where you saw some emotion stemming from as well.
This is kind of nuanced because I don't want to be the face of the person crushing Caleb Williams over this. And I think it's fine for people to show emotion, for men to show emotion. I cry all the time. I'd have no problem with crying on the sidelines because you're distraught or frustrated or it felt like it got away. Those kind of feelings, they happen in sports. That's natural. That's okay. It's the confluence of things here in that image that we just saw where he is with his mom in the stands crying with the paper over his face. And I think the message it sends, whether that's intended or not, is, hey, maybe he's not ready for the big time. Because you say his age, and he is a young man. He's got plenty of room to grow from that. But he's not far removed, or it will be soon, when he's expected to be leading men in the locker room in the NFL, to be able to be the face of the franchise. And things aren't going to always go so great for you at the beginning. Now, maybe he's lamenting his college experience here. So I want to be careful to not go over the top. But I will say, I have no problem with Caleb Williams crying, but I will say everything overall here may have made it a little bit too much.
Well, this has definitely been a disappointing season for USC. They're unranked right now for the first time this season, and they started off, I believe, this season number 6 or number 7 in the country. So not the way that they had hoped for things to go. All right, let's pivot, though, and talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. They took down LSU, a signature win for them. Is Bama back?
Yes, Bama is back. And I think it's certainly within the realm of possibilities that they are hoisting the national championship again. Look, I believe Alabama will win out. I believe Alabama will then be poised to be in the SEC championship game. Obviously that could be against Georgia. A win against Georgia or whomever in that title game puts Alabama into the college football playoff, in my mind. They've been playing better football week by week since they started off the season, not looking so great. So when you're prognosticating and looking forward, I think Alabama has as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah, Alabama has finally found their groove. I was a little concerned there at the beginning of the season, especially that game against South Florida. That was a little suspicious, but they decided to go with, obviously, Jalen Milroe. That's been good for them. They're 8-1 right now. I agree with you. I think it's very possible that they win out. They're first in the SEC West. Will probably make it to the SEC championship game, and I think they have like a 31% chance right now at making the college football playoff. So they're still in the race there, especially with one loss.
And those percentages are, taking into account the result of that championship game. They win that game, the number gets a lot higher. Notre Dame, they are out. Another, I guess you would say, disappointing season for the Irish, at least when it comes to the results of marquee matchups. So should it be considered a failure?
Well, the tricky thing about Notre Dame, it's kind of like USC, right? Where unless you're playing for a college football playoff spot or a national championship, a lot of fans are going to consider your season as a failure. In the grand scheme of things, though, this is only year 2 under Marcus Freeman, and a 3-loss season, to me, isn't a failed season. I think that they're going to win the rest of their games on their schedule. They're pretty manageable. So to me, not a failed season, but I think Irish fans would probably say differently.
Yeah, it's not a terrible season, but I believe if you were to survey their fan base, they would say it is a failure considering what expectations might have been. Look, the knock on Notre Dame has been when they go against the big boys, they fall short. We saw that happen against Ohio State earlier this year, even though they were right there until the end. And then this was a game they were supposed to win against Clemson. They were favored in that game. So it wasn't like they were, trying to knock off the big boy. They were supposed to be the better team going in, and they lost that game too. So once you start getting past 1-2 losses, considering where they are in the pecking order, I do think that F word comes into play.